The 2020 Democrat primary is turning into an absolute circus, and CNN is being brutally mocked for making it even worse. CNN losing even more credibility and turning it into a game show network by revealing the upcoming debate lineups like this.
We want to randomly draw candidates.
I'm going to take them and mix them up so that we can then draw from the candidate box.
Another shuffle. Mix them up.
I'm going to give these a good mix.
I'm going to give them a good shuffle.
And place them into the debate night box.
We have multiple camera views.
You can watch the camera above me overhead.
Now, I won't look into the box, but you can look into the box through the overhead camera. Let's start to pick the candidates.
Wow, tough to watch. Because there's so many candidates, it's broken into two nights. Facing off on night one, Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren will battle to see who's the biggest socialist. And Greg and I are particularly happy about this. Marianne Williamson will join them on stage to spread the love. And the second night features a rematch between Biden and Kamala Harris. We'll see if Sleepy Joe will actually fight back this time. Greg, I hadn't actually seen it because I don't watch CNN until then. I think they made it less interesting.
It is amazing. The serious music made it even funnier. CNN is officially the Carnival News Network. They already had the clowns.
Yes.
Now they got the attractions. They need to add a dunk tank, a pie-eating contest, a ring toss where Don Lemon could toss rings onto Chris Cuomo's head. You know what CNN is? I feel like I'm being too mean or not mean enough. No, keep going. CNN is the network without close friends. Because close friends tell you when you're making a fool out of yourself, you know, hey, that's an obvious toupee wolf, or, you know, Chris, you're not funny. People will come and tell you that your fly's down or whatever, or you need mouthwash. But nobody's telling CNN that you guys look like idiots when you do this
You're saying
stuff.
like MSNBC should be like, hey, guys,
yes,
I want to knock that off. You got some cabbage between your teeth.
Headline News Network should be knocking them on the door.
Lisa, what do you think the strategy was here? Was it just trying to grab ratings, or was it to show transparency?
Well, probably a little bit of both, but primarily for ratings. And apparently this special was literally called The Draw. I didn't watch it either, but I read the Washington Post write-up about it. They had an 8-person panel analyzing like every move throughout the entire hour. You had multiple people pulling the cards and figuring out which candidate would be on what night. So absolutely ridiculous. But on the substance, what I'm interested in looking at for the debate is how badly diminished Biden and Bernie are by product of who they're on the stage with. Because remember last time, Kamala Harris did some major damage to Joe Biden. And then also, if you have Bernie on the stage with Elizabeth Warren, someone who basically has the exact same policy positions, but who's younger and more interesting, I mean, you could see how that could hurt him significantly.
There was a racial angle to this whole mess, and one of the CNN analysts actually commented on it. Let's watch it, and Juan can respond.
Why Juan?
It's also worth noting in this, the most diverse field the Democratic Party has ever had, all the first night are white candidates, and the racial diversity is entirely in the second night, which just changes the dynamic, especially because, obviously, race has been a front and center issue in America this week. It has been in this campaign. It is an issue that is sort of coursing through this Democratic primary.
What do you think about that one?
Does that mean CNN's racist, then, if they had the first debate?
Yes. He called their network racist.
These days?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that the rules?
But I tell you, you guys see race in everything.
Oh, someone clip that. Clip that right there.
Put up with it around here. But I must say, this was all the silliness that CNN did, that you guys rightly have mocked them for, it was a transparent operation. You could see what was going on. There was no bias implicit. What kind of criticism or critique is that, and of his own network? I don't know. To me, it was obvious, that the real news here is, as Lisa was saying, you're going to have Kamala Harris once again up against Joe Biden. So it's going to be the redo in Detroit, right? And you want to know what's going to happen. He said he wasn't prepared last time. Let's see if he's prepared this time. But he's also going to have Cory Booker on that stage. And if you really look at it, Booker's been far more critical of Biden for saying, not about busing, but for saying he can cross the partisan line, do business, and prove I did business with segregationists in the past. That opened a big door. Guess what? Cory Booker did not benefit when Kamala Harris went up in the polls. So does he see this now as his opportunity it's going to be like a pincer movement around Joe Biden. By the way, some polls came out today. And again, Biden is up. I think Biden's up +9 on everybody.
But Marion's coming on strong.
Oh, your girl. You got a favorite here.
I'm glad you brought the polls that just came out, Juan, because Donald Trump, 48% approval rating in the NBC News poll. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah,
But
sure.
moving on, Emily, what do you think about this spectacle?
All right, so I did in my head winners and losers. And really the only winner that I saw was Kamala Harris, because CNN is obviously a total loser by that whole debacle. And as you said, they're being rightly mocked. Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, basically because of that draw, lost the opportunity to challenge Biden on stage. So for them, they're obviously disappointed. And then Biden, I put him in the loser category because he's going against Kamala again, and also Booker, right? So he's going to be subjected to likely a lot of attacks. Yes, based on his racial record, whatever. I think that for him, it would not behoove, but a synonym for him to defend his record by really not going there, because it's going to be death by a thousand cuts. So what he should do is say, look, I'm not here to litigate the past. I'm on this stage to talk about now, you know, starting with the man in the Oval Office. Let's move forward. That's a better strategy. And then for him versus Kamala, it's either Raiders versus Steelers early 70s, or is it 1976 where the Raiders came back and actually beat them?
All right.
By the way,
sports analogies.
Let me just.
Dana's not even here.
Let me just go. Let me just go to the first night. Because the first night's really interesting to me. I know
because
you
of
guys say
Marianne.
Is that what it is?
She's in front. Juan. She's jumped in front of Corey, Kirsten, and somebody else in New Hampshire. I'm telling you, she's the Trump. She's the Trump one. We should put a bet on it right now.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What are you going to bet?
Trump? You believe that she's going to be president of the United States?
She's the wild card. I'm counting on her getting the nomination.
Really?
It's because remember I was wrong on Trump.
You're going to back her. You're voting for.
I was wrong on Trump for what, a year and a half. So don't
Imagine how I feel.
Greg's picking up what she's putting down.
Yes.
Well,
I think
anyway,
you should open your
Her
wallet
love
and
has
send
hit
her
me
some
hard,
money.
Juan.
anyway, I'm interested
First
in
night.
Sanders versus Warren.
Do you think they're going to clash? Because they're
Well,
kind of
that's an
friendly.
interesting question.
They have
because
to, don't they? Warren should take
Sanders,
shots at
I
them.
think, is a little bit of, as I said, a rerun. Warren has lots of ideas and new ideas, but it's the same music, right?
Right.
And the question is there more benefit for them in going after each other or teaming up and saying that Joe Biden, he's the problem, he's the old stuff, and we're the new
Or
music.
focus on Trump the whole time.
Right. And then the other lane here is Klobuchar, Bennett of.
There's a lane there.
Yeah, there is. It's a moderate. I think it's almost
It's a
like
12 items or less lane.
Yeah, and Buttigieg. Does Buttigieg prove he belongs?
Yeah.
Well, he's raised a lot of money, so a lot of other people think that. Greg, going back to CNN.
Right.
Okay.
Forget the candidates.
I feel like they have an identity crisis.
Right.
Are they a serious news network? Are they the network on New Year's that everybody gets drunk and then they have these little things like they look like Vegas? Who are they?
It's an interesting thing that's happened to them because they refuse to label whether they're news or commentary. Fox, we know everybody knows that we've got opinions and we're not reporters.
Right.
You know, at least we're spouting off opinions. When you turn on CNN, you have no idea what you're going to get. You'll have a guy report something and then an opinion in the same breath and then get it wrong or maybe he gets it right, but you can't tell. It's kind of dishonest, and I think they are. They are in an identity crisis because they used to be something, and I don't know what they are.
You have Don Lemon, who's throwing back drink after drink on New Year's and calling Trump, you know what, and now he's the debate moderator. I mean,
Also,
come on.
Can you imagine?
Don't slander him for drinking.
I'm sorry.
You had MSNBC use Rachel Maddow in their debates, and then you've got, or the NBC debate, and then now you've got Don Lemon, who is essentially an opinion host, as you just pointed out, being used in CNN. I mean, can you imagine if Fox did something similar?
Oh, we did.
No.
Who did we have that was that opinion?
I'm not getting into it, but I mean, I just think we should be careful on this one.
Okay.
All right, things are heating up because the election is right around the corner, and the
big corner.
Yeah, right. The announcement has been
About a
made
year.
for the next Democratic debates. You know, there's so many candidates, they have to divide it. So on Tuesday, not next Tuesday, the following one in 10 days, Tuesday, July 30th, here's the list of who's going to perform or be on stage in that debate.
But they'll be performing.
The two big ones there, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren.
And Mayor
Pete
Pete.
Buttigieg and
Robert Francis, Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, John Hickenlooper, Steve Bullock, John Delaney, Tim Ryan, and Marianne Williamson, a crowd favorite. I mean, you've got the two most hardline leftists in Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. They did not face off last time. It'll be very interesting.
On night 2, you've got Cory Booker and Julian Castro and others, but the top 2 are Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Remember what happened last time they got together. The way that apparently CNN decided how to stack these 2 decks, you know, because there are so many candidates, they had to do it over 2 nights. And so they divided everybody into one of 3 tiers. And then they would pick a certain number out of each tier. Okay, out of tier
For
1,
each night, yeah.
the people in the double digits. Okay, they're going to go here, they're going to go there. And that is the lineup for those 2
Bill de Blasio is the second night
Oh,
on Wednesday.
Can't wait. Yeah, that first night will be interesting. It really will be as they try to, because publicly. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren have been very kind to each other. We'll see if they start to try to pick at each other at this debate.